We're going to just set up our function keys slightly differently to the default. So the function keys are under Windows keyboard, and here we have all the function keys set up. So we've got F1, F2, F3 through to F12. We've also got Control, Shift and Alt, so you can combine a function key with, say, the Alt button. So you can have Alt and F1 could be a function. Here they're all blank, as you can see. So let's have a look at the defaults first of all. The first one there is shade on and off. So if I press F1, you can see the shading turns on and off. I'm going to now change that. I'm going to make that into zoom. So if I click on that button there, we've got a number of options here that we can choose from, and there's zoom in the middle there. So if I change that to zoom, now when I hit F1, instead of taking the shading off, it gives me the option of zooming in to the model. Now if I want to zoom out of the model, Auto Min Max will fill the screen with that model, and F3 will give us the last view, so we can toggle between the last two views using F3. And that's why I've changed F1 to zoom, is because you've then got under your left hand three very important zoom functions. So you've got zooming in, Auto Min Max and last view. F4 is perspective, so I would leave that as it is. We've also got perspective over here, of course, but this can make it slightly more efficient if you've got it on a function key. F5, so if I press F5, does that, which if you like turntables, that's great. Personally, I have never really had to use that. So what I do is I change the F5, because we've lost the shading now, I change F5 to shade on and off. So now F5 will turn the shading on and off on the model. F6, F7 and F8 are all grouped together, so you've got original, mirror and both sides. So what F6 means by original is it'll show us the geometry without mirroring to the other side. So if I press F6, that is actually the geometry that exists in this model. There is no other geometry. If I wanted to see the other side, I'd use F7, so that shows us that mirrored across to the other side, and that can cause you a problem because it's difficult to pick things on that side, and it pays not to have it in F7 at any time, but it's there anyway. And then F8 is both sides, so F6, F7, F8, toggle through those. Of course you can change these if you wanted to, but it's fairly conventional to keep those as they are. F9 I want to change to Reference Manager, and you can see in the menu there is no option for Reference Manager. So in order to do that, I've got to go up to the drop down menus from up here. So I'll go to File, Reference Manager, and that's now assigned Reference Manager to F9 there. So when I press F9, we get the Reference Manager menu. F10, I'm going to make display options. Again, there's no display options in there, so that's another one that I'm going to pick from the top line there, display options, and that's now put display options on there. So F10 will give us that. F11 is plane on and off. So we've briefly talked about planes before, work planes. This is a work plane, and all F11 does is turn the symbol on and off, but very useful indeed. And the final one is F12, which is deselection. Again, that's a very useful function there, so we'll keep that as it is.